Hello. It's another live stream. What up, everybody? We got lots of folks on here. Awesome. Let's see. Who have we got? Soccer Girl 23. Hello. Mountain Dew Lover. Mountain Dew Lover? Really? Okay. We're glad you're here. David Gowans, who lives in Oshawa, Ontario. I used to have a client radio station up in Oshawa. I did their imaging voice stuff. Let's see here. We've got Hunter Moffat is here. Either that or his dad is here. One of them. I'm guessing it's probably Hunter. Beckstar Games. Aaron, Bobby, Mac the Champ. Mac the Champ has a question. Can we help him? How do you hook the ball with your thumb in the hole? Well, you get your thumb out of the hole. You can't hook the ball with your thumb in the hole, or you'll be going down the lane with the ball. You got to get your thumb out of the hole. No, that is the trick. You got to get your thumb out quick so that when your hand rotates the ball, you turn it. You're like this when you let it go. Your thumb is in it. And then you just go like that. And you let it go with your thumb up. Pay attention to how you would throw it if you didn't have your thumb in the ball. With your fingers down below like a two-hander does. Just try to replicate that, but with your thumb in the ball. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, we're going to answer a few questions here, but there's a real reason for this live stream today, because I took delivery today on the 2019-20 coveted trophy pin, and we're going to unbox it here so everybody can see it. Woohoo! Leo Davis Ding says, got to make you a little bigger here, Leo. How did that get so small? How do I make it bigger? I don't know. I'm still learning how to make this thing work. He loves Prodigy, and it inspired him to start bowling. Well, we're glad it did. Where are you, Leo? Bonham the Bowler says, your channel is one of the best. Thanks. And Drew Stern says, hi, Couch Randy. I think he meant Coach Randy. That's okay. I spent too much time on the couch. Oh, now see. Here's a great question. Beckstar Games TV. What is worse, leaving the 710 in the 10th frame in a title match, or get a 299? I would think the 710 would be worse, because you're not going to shoot 299 if you leave a 710. The best you can hope for is a 298 if you leave it on the last ball. So I'd take the 299. I've shot a couple of 299s. They're no fun, especially when you throw them as good as I threw it both times to get them. Left a ringing 10 and a swishing 7. I was not happy. Hey, James Beavers, where is Christian at? I'm assuming he means Christian. Christian is probably at work. It's Friday. He's usually taking calls at Jet's Pizza. Hey, should we call him? No, let's not. I don't want to get him in trouble. Oh, okay, Leo. I asked where Leo is. He says he lives in North Carolina. So, Leo, why aren't you down here bowling Prodigy? You're not that far. You're like next door to Georgia. You should come down and bowl with us. Well, Hunter, using his dad Alan's account, says, I will see you tomorrow. Well, that's good. Did everybody see Hunter on the show this week? The new episode that went up last night? I wish I could do like a show of hands. How many of you have watched the new episode already? Okay, here you go. Peter Deigel says, if anybody is still ripping skin off their thumb, try putting extra skin on where it's ripping, because that's what I've been doing and it's been working so far. I'm assuming you mean like the new skin stuff. The best new skin stuff you can get is the stuff they sell at the pro shop called Robbie's Skin Protector. Comes in a yellow and red box. It's the only kind of new skin type product that I've ever found that holds up to the rigors of bowling. But a better choice, instead of using that, is to prevent the blister from happening in the first place by wearing one of those patches. They call them Haida patches. Vice makes them. There's one or two other companies that make them. They're like little cloth. They look like Band-Aids, except they're cloth. And the ones that Vice makes come in blue and red and a bunch of other colors. The different colors indicate the thickness. I use the red, which is not the thinnest. It's the next thickest one up. I find that it sticks a little better. But if you're getting blisters on your hand, it could be an indication that your ball doesn't fit the way it should. I never get blisters, partly because I wear one of those things, but partly because my ball fits. So, okay, let's see what Cody Williams has to say. Randy, I got a new ball for my birthday. It's the newest Brunswick Hero. I am getting it drilled Monday. Any advice? Any advice? Well, get it drilled by somebody who knows what they're doing. That would be my advice. I'm not sure what kind of advice you're looking for. If you're looking for advice concerning layouts, I would say that most people will usually have one or two layouts that work best for them, and then they drill all their equipment with those same layouts. There's a few exceptions. Some people are always experimenting with different things, but most people will find one or two layouts that give them the best reaction, and then if they want to adjust, they just get a ball with a different cover stock or different weight block or something like that. Oh, see now. Call Me Billy says, you should come to Oregon. What Billy doesn't know is I used to live in Oregon. I lived in Beaverton, Oregon, and worked at KGW, not the TV station, but the radio station, when the AM station was still a top 40. And I played the hits on the radio, man. And my son and my grandkids still live in the Portland area. How about that? So maybe one of these days I'll come up there. But they need to come down here and see me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. David 62105 says, I want to bowl Prodigy, but I live in New York. That's no excuse. We've had people from New York come down here and bowl Prodigy. We've had people from Oakland, California, and Michigan, and Florida, and North Carolina. We had a kid from Germany come bowl Prodigy over the summer. And we've had somebody from Honolulu come bowl Prodigy. And I got an email, I don't know, it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago now, where a parent wrote to me and said that he wants to bring his 3 boys in this next June. They live in Australia, so they'll be in. So living in New York, not an excuse not to bowl Prodigy. But I might have another option for you. I haven't announced all the details yet, but it all has to do with the Prodigy Bowlers U Tour, and when I'm ready to reveal it, I will. We just got a thumbs down. What's wrong with you guys? What's to thumbs down? You're hurting my feelings. Thank you. Okay, Baxter with another one. Will anyone bowl the Badger pattern this season? Because that pattern is a pain if it goes wide. That's true. Is it 52 or 53 feet? I forget. It's a long pattern. And we bowled it last year on Prodigy. And I'll probably spring it on them again. Mr. Math points out it's Friday the 13th and a full moon. I don't know what to expect tonight. Well, that's why I'm staying in. I didn't know it was a full moon. I did know it was Friday the 13th, but that hasn't been a problem thus far. Leo, I wanted to come, but I have a lot of school work, and as much as I love bowling, school is the top priority. And I'm applauding that one. School is more important. I give you that. Christian, are you listening? Dilly Pig 31 wants to know how many 300 games I have. 8. And I have 5 800s, including an 847 that I'm especially proud of. An 847 that didn't have a 300, but it did have 20 in a row. 278, 280, 289. That second game I would go strike spare, 10 in a row, and then the front 10 the next game before I left I think it was a 4-pin. That was a long time ago. It's like back in the late 70s. Okay. Oh, looky here. Patrick, is it Mayer or Meyer? Or I'm not sure. Hi, Coach Randy. Big fan here from the Netherlands. Keep on the good work. Well, you may not know this, but there's a company over there in the Netherlands that is a client of mine that I've been working for a number of years. So I actually think about you guys in the Netherlands every now and then. You're pretty crazy people. I love you. Okay, let's see. What else? I haven't seen Logan bowl. Is he still in the Prodigy Bowling Tour? Well, it's the Prodigy Bowlers Tour, first of all. And depending on which Logan you're referring to, Big Logan has gone off to college. And we'll see him occasionally. He'll pop in, but he's away at school. And Little Logan is not bowling league with us this year, so I wouldn't expect to see him. He decided to move to another bowling center, so we wish him well. He's always welcome to bowl with us. Let's see, here's Mountain Dew Lover again. I haven't bowled in like a month, and I really want to be better, don't we all? How do you get good after months of not practicing? Well, you practice. You get back out there and you practice. And I would recommend you get a coach. Find somebody there who knows what they're doing, preferably a USBC certified coach. You can go on bowl.com and look up USBC certified coaches. There, you go to bowl.com, and up at the top, you go to the Find section and find a coach. And then you bring up your state, and you'll find some in your area, probably. Charlie Smith asks a very good question. What's your opinion on the age change for the next season? For those of you who don't know, he's referring to the age change. This is the last year that you'll be able to bowl in the youth program if you're 19 or 20 for that matter. The rule has always been that your age for that year is determined by what your age is on August 1st. So, or actually as of, yeah, August 1st. So if you turned, say, 15 on July 31st, you wouldn't be able to bowl the U15 division in that season that starts on August 1st. But if your birthday is on August 1st, I think you can, because it goes by what's your age as of 12 midnight, you know. So anyway, next year, if you're over 18, if you're 19, you're no longer eligible to bowl youth league. And I actually think this is the correct way to do it, because when you're 18, you're an adult. You shouldn't be in a youth program. So I'm all for the change. Cody Williams. I throw a backup ball right-handed, two-handed. Okay, why do you do that? That doesn't make a lot of sense, but okay, good luck. Here we go with Nicholas Kramer, one of our regulars here, and also a regular in our Facebook group. Do you guys know we have a Facebook group? If you're on Facebook, type in Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar, and it'll bring up a page where you can submit a request to join the group. Now, it'll also ask you 3 screening questions. And if you don't answer the questions, I will assume that you're a spam bot, and I'll decline your request, unless I find stuff on your page that indicates that you're a bowler. So just go ahead and answer the questions. Anyway, Nicholas Kramer asks, I watched Hunter bowl yesterday. Very impressive. Yes, he is. Terry Ann, how did Hunter, Josh, and Rowan do in the varsity league? Terry Ann? Don't know who's he referring to. I don't have the scores from last week handy. But here, I can bring them up on screen real quickly if you'll bear with me while I do this. So just tell jokes amongst yourselves while I do this. League sheets. Roswell varsity. Here we have no secrets here. I'll tell you what they shot. Last week. Let's see here. Well, let's see. Josh is still in the junior varsity. So I can tell you that Hunter, where is he? Why am I having difficulty finding? Ah, here he is. Hunter set an average of 179, which is up about 15 pins or so from what he finished last year with in the junior varsity. Little Rowan Sautner also moved up to the varsity. At 10 years old, we moved him up to the varsity. When he found out that Hunter was bowling varsity, Rowan was like, I don't want to get left behind. So we put him on the same team with Hunter, and he set an average of 180. Hello. That's the 10th highest average in the varsity league as of right now. There'll be one or two others that eclipse it, but pretty good bowling by the little guy. And then you asked about Josh. I got to open a different page to get to that because he's in the junior varsity. Bear with me here, junior varsity. Junior varsity, Josh. Okay. I opened another copy of the varsity because I'm an idiot. Tell us something we didn't already know, Coach Randy. Junior varsity, here we go. Here we go. Josh set a 148 average. That's up from where he was last year also. So he's doing better. A little bit better. I should have left those pages open, but I didn't. Okay, moving on. Here's Dilly Pig 31, and I love that name. Randy, I throw about 250 RPM. Any advice on how I should throw my bowling ball? Yes, throw it with 260 RPM or more. Now, the trick to getting more revs really simply is just to get your thumb out quickly and stay behind it. Don't let your arm rotate or your hand rotate around the ball and get on top of it. You want to stay behind it as long as you can. Get your thumb out quickly. But the real trick to revs is keeping your fingers below the equator of the ball. You know what the equator is, right? The ball is like this. That you got the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, and the middle is the equator. And you want to keep your fingers below the equator as long as you can so that when you let it go, you can rip those fingers through the ball. That's where the revs are. Dilly Pig and asking any advice on how to throw the hustle. I just got it on Thursday. I don't know how to throw the hustle. I know how to do the hustle. Sorry, that's an old 70s disco song. I think the hustle was a dance, and I'm lying. I'm the worst dancer in the world. And I'm not that familiar with the hustle. Sorry. Oh, look at this. Okay, you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation here. Is it Akin? Akin Cuento? Hey, Randy, I live in Baltimore and average 201, 14 years old, but I'm coming to Atlanta next month. I can't to be there. I am assuming you mean you can't wait to be there. And if you're coming to Atlanta, have your parents get in touch with me ahead of time. My email address is pretty easy to remember. It's randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. And just have them get in touch with me so I can give you all the particulars on coming to Bowl Prodigy with us. We'd love to have you. You know you're welcome. Bonham the Bowler asks, when will you bowl on the shark pattern? Well, here's the deal about all these patterns. I'd love to put the kids on the shark pattern or any one of many other patterns. Bolero Roswell does have a Kegel machine. It's a Kegel Flex machine. No, it's not the one that walks by itself. They have to manually move it from one lane to the next. And so it came programmed with, I don't know how many patterns. I don't know how many slots there are in the Kegel Flex machine. I want to say 20, but it may be more than that. It may be like 30 or 40. I don't know what the number is. But it comes pre-programmed with a bunch of patterns. And you can take some patterns out and replace them with other patterns. But you got to know how to do that. I don't work at the bowling center. I'm not an employee, so I can't change it. They wouldn't let me near that thing. And I don't know if there's anybody down there that knows how to program it. I know they know how to select a pattern that's in there, but to actually program a new pattern in there requires either downloading the pattern off the Kegel website and putting it into a laptop and then connecting the laptop to the machine, or programming all the numbers in manually. We used to have a guy that worked down there that would do that, but he's long gone. And I just don't know if there's anybody down there that knows how to do it. So I haven't really pressed the issue. So we've kind of been using the patterns that are in the machine. And honestly, that covers us for a pretty wide variety of patterns. But obviously, I would love to get some other patterns. And now these PBA patterns are a little tricky because you've got to either be a PBA member or know somebody who can get you the patterns. And I suppose there's probably some licensing issues there. But anyway, I don't know the answer to the question as to whether or not we will be doing that pattern or not. I'd love to. Shark is kind of like what we used to call a reverse block. You know, when the lanes are walled up or blocked, or what we now call the house shot, where it's dry on the outside and wet on the inside, which makes it real easy to score for somebody who knows what they're doing. A reverse block is the opposite. It's dry on the inside, slick on the outside, and that's pretty hard to bowl on. And Shark is kind of like that. The inside of the lane hooks a lot, the outside is flooded. So I would love to put these kids on that one of these days. You see them send it out wide, and it'll make a beeline for the gutter every time. Charles, the USBC lowered the age to be considered a youth bowler for next season, 20 to 18. We just answered that question. Peter wants to know about the wolf pattern. That's another one. We actually have that one in the machine. We've used it before. Probably will again. Oh, now here's a good question. Coach Randy, who do you think will win the Stanley Cup? That's hockey, right? I don't know, and I don't care. Hockey is not a sport. There's no ball. Sorry. Margie wants to know, the kids are all great bowlers. Do they get coached prior to the taping? We don't specifically do a coaching session before the taping, and I don't get to coach as much as I would like because I'm too busy collecting money during the league. And last week was super busy because it was the first week of league, and I had tons of other stuff I had to do just to get everybody signed up and organized. But once we get into the regular swing of things, I hope to be able to spend a little more time coaching the kids. We've got several coaches, and they kind of wander about, and any time they see a kid that looks like they need some help, they'll offer to give them some coaching. A lot of the kids, some of the kids at least, have coaches of their own and don't really want, or their parents don't really want you coaching them, sometimes because the parent is the coach. But, you know, we try to offer coaching wherever it's wanted and whenever it seems to be needed. And some of the kids are, you know, more responsive to it than others. And some of them are just there to have fun and don't really care about coaching anyway, so. Oh, now here's a good one. Brixton Dade asks, Brixton Dade. I'm new at reading. Will the Prodigy Bowlers Tour only be for youth? Or is there plans for expanding up and out? This channel sure has grown fast. I would love for it to grow some more. There are no plans to turn Prodigy Bowlers Tour into something for adults. That said, we do occasionally let the grown-ups bowl. That is complicated somewhat by the new USBC requirement relating to safe sport and the whole adults and kids bowling together. But my understanding is that doesn't apply to tournaments. Prodigy is more tournament than league. And even then, it's not a tournament, and it's not sanctioned. We usually don't bowl under USBC sanctions, so I don't even think they have jurisdiction here. So I'm not really worried about it, and I would never let anything happen to the kids anyway. But to answer your question, no, there is not any plan to turn Prodigy into an adult thing. We'd have to call it something else besides Prodigy, wouldn't we? Okay. Colton Dickens asks, doing my first sports shot league, any tips? Yeah. Straighter is greater. Don't try to send it wide and expect it to come back. You're going to be playing a lot more down and in than you ever have before. Unless you are just, you know, Mr. Revs guy, you're probably going to be playing a lot straighter than you're used to playing. And that's a good thing. Keep everything in front of you. Don't try to overthink it. And as Annalise preached on this week's Prodigy in our first installment of the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week, spares, spares, spares. The thing about sports shot is you're going to tend to be a little more wild on the first shot. So the spares you leave may be a little more, you may find yourself shooting more complex spares than you're used to seeing. But if you can keep everything under control and stay near the pocket on your first ball, you'll leave simpler spares and now just really focus on making them. Because if you can bowl a clean game on a sports shot, you'll beat 90% of the people you're facing. Okay. All right, we've seen this one before. I want to bowl on Prodigy, but I live in Ohio. Not a good excuse. Sorry. Is it fun coaching kid? I assume you mean kids? Yeah, it's great. I love helping people. That's kind of the way I'm wired. I love just seeing the light bulb go on above people's heads. So it's fantastic. I coach grown-ups too. I coach people of all ages. There's this one lady that I used to coach. I haven't seen her in a while. Hope she's still around. She was 84 and probably not the most athletic person I've ever known, but she gave it the old college try every time she was up there. Charlie wants to know, this relates to my previous question, will you be allowing 19 and 20-year-olds in Prodigy or no? Well, this year, yes, because they're still allowed in Youth League. Next year, we'll probably go with the USBC rule on this. Now, that said, I really, really want to do an event during the holiday season, Christmas holiday, when some of the kids who used to bowl on Prodigy and are off at college and they come home to visit their parents over the Christmas holiday. I want to do a Home for the Holidays episode where, you know, any of our former prodigies are back bowling. Plus the fact, I think years from now, when they've actually gone out into the world and they're out of college and you haven't seen them in quite a while, have some of them come back as grown-ups, I think would be a hoot anyway. Some of you would go, wow, look at how he's grown up. You know, so I'd love to do that. But, so obviously your answer is yes, we'll be allowing some older kids. They won't be kids anymore to bowl with us, but it'll be special occasions. Bowler Blader. I almost called you Bowler Bladder. I literally have watched your entire series. Thank you. That's called binge watching. That is a loyal viewer right there. James Beavers, it's time for some pizza. Referring to Christian, no doubt, who's at work filling pizza orders. David Gowans, keep up the amazing work with Prodigy Bowlers Tour videos, Randy, and say hi to the bowlers for me. Well, you just did, David, so thanks. How much do you think Hunter will improve in the next couple of seasons? he's improved a lot in the last couple of seasons. Now think about this. When Hunter first came to bowl with us, it was January 2017. And I'd seen him bowling. He was just an open play bowler. And I bumped into him a couple of times at the bowling alley with his dad. And I said, you know, you should get this kid signed up. He seems to really like it. But they had other things planned for Saturdays. And then eventually the day arrived when Hunter decided he was going to come bowl with us. And lo and behold, he took to it like a duck to water. So I think he'll just keep improving, you know. What happens with kids his age is they just have to grow. They have to get bigger. If you watch Hunter bowl, you can tell that the ball is still kind of swinging him rather than the other way around. It takes a lot of effort for him to throw the ball. And as he gets bigger and stronger and fills out, the muscles get bigger, you know, he'll be more in control of the ball. The ball will be less in control of him. So that's what we're looking for, and I have no doubt that he will just keep getting better and better. Oh, now here's an interesting one. Jerry Hippert. There was a story on our local news that the Brunswick Pin Setter was developed in a garage in Cheektowaga, New York. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. That's where we live. Have you ever heard this before? I don't know that I've heard specifically about that town, but how about this for Coinky Dinky? Christian Manel's mom is from that area also, and she sent me a couple of newspaper articles that she found online all about that. And I will have to plead guilty now that I haven't actually read all those articles. But I've got a collection of newspaper and magazine articles about the origins of the automatic pin setter. And I do know that at least one of them, either the AMF or the Brunswick, was developed up there in that area. So I'd like to have some of the money that was paid to the guy for inventing that. It was a huge thing. Paul Pensinger, thanks for the Facebook information. I love to follow the Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and I've watched all the YouTube videos, and I love your videos. I've also learned a lot from your videos. Well, thanks, Paul. And if you've watched all the videos, that means all that time, you're never going to get it back. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed your time spent watching. Julian, Mr. Ed is not here. And besides, that's my costume, not his. Dilly Pig is back again. I'm a two-handed bowler, not a one-handed bowler. I throw, like I said before, 250 RPM and about 12 miles an hour. Any advice on how I should increase my speed and revs? Well, I don't know how old you are or how big you are, so that's kind of a thing I would need to know. But assuming you're, ordinary size, well, it doesn't matter what size you are. One thing you can do is move back. You can if you take 5 steps now, try taking 6 or even 7 steps and generate some forward momentum. The more forward momentum you can generate, the easier it is to create a little ball velocity and get it off your hand with a little more speed. So that'll help. And just learn to swing it. If you're trying to muscle the ball, you're not going to generate a lot of speed that way. Now, I will tell you, if you're a two-handed bowler, if you lack the flexibility required to throw it, I mean, look at me. I'm not exactly the picture of fitness, right? I would love to throw two-handed, but I just don't have the flexibility, and I can't generate enough speed throwing two-handed either. part of the trick to generating speed with a two-handed style is learning that little skip step that some of the two-handers use. But I know players that don't use the skip step that generate plenty of speed too. Most of the time they tend to be bigger, just bigger people. But just learn to swing it and don't try to control it too much. Don't try to muscle it. Just let your arm swing as much as you can. What are your thoughts on the new ball changes with the finger holes? I don't like it. There's a couple of things that USBC did with rules changes this year that I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish. The new rule with the finger holes basically is this: if you put 3 fingers in the ball, your 2 fingers and your thumb, you have to have 3 holes in the ball. You can't have 4. You can't have 5. If you only put 2 fingers in the ball, if you don't bowl with your thumb in the ball, you can only have 2 fingers. You can't have a 3rd hole for a thumb. Which means if you throw two-handed without or one-handed without your thumb in the ball on your strike ball to get more revs, and you've been putting your thumb in for more control on your spares, you can no longer do that with the same ball. You have to have 2 different bowling balls for that, because you can't have a hole in the ball that's not being used to hold it. And I just, since they've eliminated, well, I don't get what they're trying to achieve. I mean, maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand what they're trying to do, but it seems like much ado about nothing. And then the other rule that they changed was the dry towel rule. We actually had a circumstance come up this last week, first week in league. One of our youth bowlers, I won't mention his name, bowling no one, but he spilled his, I guess, I didn't see it, but his French fries and the ketchup. And the ketchup got all over one of our other players' bowling balls and bag, and it was a mess. And he felt terrible about it. I mean, I told him, you need to go apologize, because I know you didn't mean to do it, but it probably means something if you actually said, I'm sorry. Anyway, so the person whose equipment this happened to, they came over to me and says, can I clean my bowling ball? And I had forgotten about the new rule, and I was kind of thinking, why are you even asking me? But then I remembered that you can't use anything to clean your ball with, a solution or anything like that, without first getting permission from a league official or a tournament official or something like that. And of course I was like, you got ketchup on your bowling ball? Of course you can clean it. And I had no problem with it. But that's the rule. You can now no longer use anything but a dry towel to wipe your ball off with during competition. You can't alter the surface with, an Abralon pad. Of course, that was true before. You could alter it before competition started, but once competition started, you couldn't. But before, like if the ball came back with belt marks on it or something from the pin setter, you couldn't use a solution and wipe it down. And well, you could before, but you can't now. Unless you get permission from one of the league officials. And I granted that. And I'll probably grant it every time somebody asks. I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish with such a ridiculous rule, especially as it relates to kids. But that's just me. Let's see here. Dilly, depending on your age, could make a difference if you are younger. Oh, this is answering Dilly's question. Okay, I'll leave that between the two of you. I'm going to wait like 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to do the unboxing, and then we'll call it a night at around 7 o'clock. So let's go on here. Let's see. Colton Dickens. I wish we had something like this where I live in Arkansas. When I was in youth, I didn't have the opportunity to explore new shots or get into tournament situations. I am, and then he leaves us hanging. I am. Well, that's Arkansas. I wish you had those opportunities too. Actually, I've been through Arkansas. Arkansas is okay. Who is my favorite bowler? Well, if that is a question like, as in, who is my all-time favorite bowler, I have to go with a dead one. That would be Earl Anthony. Greatest bowler who ever lived. Cheektowaga. Thank you, Austin Bailey. All right, I'm gonna circle back around and see if there's any other questions left. Okay, here's a good one from Red. Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. I don't know what you're saying there. I hope that was not obscene. I have no idea. Oh, now here's a good one. What is the highest series on Prodigy? You're not going to believe this, but I actually don't know the answer to that question as far as the highest 4-game series. I know what the highest 3-game series is. It's 761 by Logan Fossum, and it was on the 2017 All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions. And a few weeks before that, Charlie Bostic shot 755, which was the high score up to that point. Nobody's come close to those numbers since. But maybe somebody will. Alan Stout asks, do you ever have 3-person team? Rowan, Hunter, Mr. Fluffy would make a good team. Well, he loves being called that, by the way. He hates being called that. Rowan, Hunter actually have a team in our varsity league. And they actually have 4 people on their team. I put them with Jorge Seda, who you've seen a time or two on Prodigy. The 3 of them all came up from the junior varsity, so I put them together on one team. But I had another player in the league who I needed to put him on a team that if he wasn't there, they'd still have a team because he's often not there. So it's Hunter, Rowan, Jorge, and Charlie Bostic. They're pretty thrilled about getting to bowl with Charlie. And Charlie's cool with it too because he likes having fans. Okay, let's see here. All right, we're kind of running out of questions, so I think it might be getting to be time here. Let me make one last pass through these questions. For the chat, what is your favorite bowling ball? Well, I don't know how many others chimed in with an answer, but I will tell you what my favorite bowling ball of all time is, and it'll be one that you've probably heard of but never. The Columbia 300 Yellow Dot. Bleeder. Plastic. Long before urethane, long before reactive resin. I bowled some of my best scores with that. And hello, Emily Reddig, checking in saying how much she misses everybody in GA. That would be Georgia, for those of you keeping score. We miss you too, but we know you'll be back. Come see us when we do our Home for the Holidays episode this Christmas. Okay, I'm going to call it a day, but before we do, I promised you that the whole purpose for this live stream was so we could do the unboxing. And yes, friends, it arrived today. Here it is. The 2019-20 coveted trophy pin. And I've actually already broken the seal because I didn't want to use my little knife and cut myself on a live stream, or worse, cut the pin. That would be terrible. And, oh, look at Alan Stout saying, I'm 70 years old and have a 218 average. Let's give Alan Stout a hand. Yes! 70 years old and still striking up a storm. Good for you. You've got a few years on me. Don't leave yet, James Beavers, until you see what's in the box. Are you ready? It's a little different this year. Did you see the show today? Did you see the new episode? Did you see something that looked a little different? All right, let's open it up. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's the packing slip. And the new pin. It's a little different this year. It's red. Boy, is it red. There it is, folks. The coveted red trophy pin. And there it is, boys and berries, for your dining and dancing pleasure. And it won't be long, and people will be putting their names on it. Anyway, there it is, the new one for this year. And we'll only be using black ink this time, so the signing ceremony won't be such a huge production. One of the reasons I went with a red pin. But looks good to me. Yep, they did a nice job, just like they always do. So there it is, the 2019-20 coveted trophy pin. And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought for just a minute about doing the ink in gold, the pin in red, the ink in gold, for my Kansas City Chiefs, because you know I'm a huge Chiefs fan. But I thought, no, because here in Georgia, they like their red and black. It's a color of the Falcons, who I do not care about, and the Georgia Bulldogs, who I do not care about. But it's also the color of the decor at Bolero Roswell. They went with red and black too, so it'll be good. So there it is, folks. This year's coveted trophy pin. Look for it on the next episode. And that's going to wrap up our live stream from bowling headquarters here in Alpharetta, Georgia, just north of Roswell, here in Randy World. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with our next live stream one of these days soon, and look for the next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour soon too. And I'm also going to tell you, in case you missed the show or you haven't watched it yet, we're going to be at Cherokee Lanes in Canton, Georgia on Sunday, September 22nd at 9 a.m. I'm going to get out of bed that early on a Sunday. Yeah, sure I am. No, seriously, we're going to be over there to tape a whole series of Prodigy shorts. Any of you who remember the old TV series from the 1960s called Make That Spare, we're going to be doing a Make That Spare revival. And I'm going to do it as much like the original show as I can. We had to go to a bowling center that has the GSX pin setters where we can set up any spare we want. So on the 22nd, we're going to be at Cherokee Lanes. So if you're interested, get in touch with me so you can pre-register for this, because there's a limited number of spots available. Anyway, the coveted trophy pin and I wish you a fond farewell for now, and we'll see you soon. Peace out.